I'm striving to get rich. That's why I almost went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And it's Tuesday. You guys already know what time it is. It is the after week 14 power rankings. Not going to make this intro so long, but make sure to leave this video a like and also subscribe to the channel, as that also helps the channel to grow. But let's dive right into these rankings. First, we're going to go into the Washington football team, who's coming off a very impressive win over a very hard-playing San Francisco team. My guy, Chase Young, is looking like the number 2 overall pick we all expected him to be. He's playing absolutely amazing. The only thing we're going to have to worry about with Washington is the quarterback situation with Alex Smith and his leg injury, and also my boy Dwayne Haskins. Didn't really play too well in the relief duties of him, so quarterback is going to be a little thing that we have to worry about this team going forward. Next, we're going to have the San Francisco 49ers. Despite the loss, I'm also going to put them at a D. I like how this team plays hard. I like how Kyle Shanahan, and Robert Saleh don't make any excuses for so many of the injuries that this team has suffered. They still come out and they play hard. Deebo Samuel, I really like his game. I really like how hard he plays. The San Francisco team, despite all the injuries, it's a very, very still a hard-playing football team. And I like how they play football, so I'm going to leave them at a D. Next, we're going to have my Chicago Bears. I know I had them in an F last week, but I think that was more of emotion of me being just so diehard. But if I want to be 100% honest with myself in this football team, I'm going to put them at a C, not just because of the win, but the way they responded to all of the criticism and all the noise, and the way that they responded to all the things that are going on around in the Bears world. And I really love how this defense came out and played hard, and they came out and responded. Offensively, the running game, I think they should have been getting to it all season, but that's neither here nor there. And Trubisky, look back at the video I made the previous day. He gets too much hate in my blood. So next, we're going to have the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to drop this team to an F. I know they have a lot going on. Joe Burrow is out. Defensively, they have struggled. Offensively, they struggled just as much to really score points without Joe Burrow and be really competitive. Outside of the Giants game, the Cincinnati Bengals team has really lost something after the injury to Joe Burrow. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills team. I'm putting them at an A. I've had big belief in this Buffalo Bills team from the beginning of the season. And Sunday night proved that this team is here to stay and this team belongs. And I really believe that this Buffalo Bills team is going to make some major noise come playoff time. I think they're going to win in the AFC East. They're probably on track. If they haven't clinched it this week, they're going to do it pretty soon. They got that division locked. They are scary. This team is scary to deal with. Josh Allen has playing like almost at an MVP level. I know it's kind of blasphemous to say, but and also this defense is playing absolutely well. Tre'Davious White, I think, is one of the best corners in the NFL. He's playing some really good football. So I've been a big believer in this Buffalo Bills team all season, and I still stand by that. And Sunday night really proved that my belief in this Bills team is real. Next, we're going to have the Denver Broncos. I'm going to put them in an F. I'm going to put them at a D. I'm sorry. I'm going to put them in a D. They had so much to deal with against New Orleans, so that's a whole nother thing. And also this week, they played a really good Carolina team. I'm not going to say really good as a top tier, but I see this Carolina team going places. Teddy Bridgewater, I've always been a fan of him. And Drew Lock is playing a little bit better football. This defense is really getting after the quarterback. Despite the loss of Von Miller, Bradley Chubb is emerging as one of the better defensive players in this league. Justin Simmons is one of the better safeties in this league. So I'm a real big believer on this Denver's defense led by Fangio, but I still have questions about the offense that really needs to be more consistent, but I'm going to have them at a D. Next, we're going to have Cleveland. I had them at an A, but I'm dropping them down to a B. I'm not necessarily going to overreact to the loss last night, even though Cody Parkey was the kicker, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm going to put this Cleveland Browns team at a B. I still believe Baker Mayfield can make some plays. I still believe that this defense, when fully healthy, because last night they was missing Denzel Ward at the cornerback position, and I think that really hurt. This Cleveland Browns team, I still think is one of the top tier teams in the NFL. They just have to be, I say, more consistent. They're very good, but I just think they have to be like that on a consistent basis, which at times this season they've kind of struggled to be on a consistent level of play. But last night that offense really looked well. I really love how Nick Chubb is running the football and Kareem Hunt. And defense, Myles Garrett is starting to come back into form, into shape, but missing Denzel Ward last night really hurt. Next, we're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm also going to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at B. I still have questions about this secondary. My questions about the secondary has been, can they hold up a whole season? I've never really had questions Tampa Bay offensively. Oh yeah, they had to get acclimated together with Antonio Brown in the fold, and they still have to run the football, I think, a little bit more. And I don't think they need to take so many shots down the field. But I still have questions about this Buccaneers secondary. And if it wasn't for Minnesota's kicking, basically jagging 4 or 5 field goals, I really think the game would have been closer than what it was against Minnesota. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals. I'm also going to put them in a B. I've been a big believer in this Cardinals team. I think they kind of had the same problem as the Browns, as in being absolutely consistent all season. They've also had moments where they look great, and then they have moments where they don't look good. So I just really think that this Arizona Cardinals football team has to be, I want to say, a little bit more consistent. I'm still a big believer in the things that they can do. I've really kind of bought myself into the Kyler Murray, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really wasn't a huge believer of him having the success that he's having. But with that offense, with DeAndre Hopkins, it slipped out at the top of my head. But with DeAndre Hopkins and this offense, I really believe that this team can make some noise, assuming that they make the playoffs. But next, we're going to go to the LA Chargers. They finally was able to get off a close win against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to put them in a D. I've been one to be, I like how Justin Herbert has played, but so many of the Chargers' problems, at least in my opinion, has been on defense, have them with so many injuries. Bosa, as much as I love the guy from Ohio State, he's been in and out of the lineup. Melvin Ingram hasn't really been there. Derwin James has pretty much missed most of the season. They traded Desmond King, which I still think was a dumb move. But I've been a big believer in Justin Herbert, the way he's been able to play football so far in his rookie season. Keenan Allen, I think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the game. But I really believe that this Chargers football team has something to grow on. But they finally got them a close victory against the Falcons. Next, we're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on. Despite some of the struggles early against Miami, they was able to pull it together and get things right and put the points on the board. This Chiefs team offensively is hard to stop. My trepidation with this Chiefs team has always been defensively. Can this defense hold up when the offense doesn't score so much? That has always been my biggest pet peeve, or not pet peeve, but my biggest criticism of the Kansas City Chiefs football team. The offense is absolutely special. It's special. But my trepidation has always been, can this defense hold up if the offense has one of those games where they kind of struggle a bit? Next, we're going to have the Indianapolis Colts. I'm also going to put them at a B. They looked really good against the Vegas team that is very confusing, but I'll get to that later. The Colts are confusing at times too. Sometimes they look great, sometimes they look bad, but they were able to get the running game going against the Raiders, and they were able to really dominate that football game defensively and also offensively. So I'm going to put this at a B. They beat a Raiders team that is, in my opinion, a really good football team. Next, we're going to have the Cowboys. Despite the win against Cincinnati, I'm going to put them in an F. I know, the Cowboys won, but come on now, the Cincinnati, and they have so many problems. Dallas has problems as well, mainly I think on defense. So despite Andy Dalton getting his revenge game against the Bengals, I still have this Cowboys team in the F. Even despite the victory, I'm not just liking how this defense looked. I mean, it was the Bengals, and they have so many struggles and so many holes to fill. It's just ridiculous. So I'm going to put them in an F. Next, we're going to have the Miami Dolphins. I'm putting them at a C. I still think Brian Flores has done a really good job coaching his football team. Tua played very solidly for the most part of that game. Defensively, I mean, you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, so at the end of the day, there's only so much that you could do successfully against that offense. But I still love how this Miami Dolphins team plays. I'm still a fan of how they can get things together despite, I think they're over-exceeding expectations, to be honest. Even with Ryan Fitzpatrick and two of the quarterback chains, I still believe that this Dolphins team has a lot of good football left and a lot of things to go forward throughout this season. Next, we're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that's a little bit harder to judge, at least in my opinion. They did get a much-needed victory against the upset of the Saints. I'm going to put them, you know what, this is a harder team to rank. But even though despite the win, I am going to have to put it in an F. I don't really see this team really making so much noise going forward. Despite Jalen Hurts, and I've liked how he played against the Saints. I like how he kind of really got things together offensively for this football team. My thing with them, I think they came out, they had a big surge of energy. It's just how long is that going to last with this Eagles team with so many weapons missing on offense? The offensive line is not really stable and it's been up and down with injuries all season long. I'm still going to have them at an F despite the really big win over the Saints. Next, we're going to have the Falcons. I mean, they have an F. They have a way of giving away games, especially late, and that trend has still continued, especially this past week against the Chargers. That streak has really continued of them really blowing games late. So that defense just has to be better. Offensively, they have to stay out of their own way. As much as I like that they can score points, they refused to get out of their own way. Next, we're going to have the Giants. This team is a little bit harder to judge as well, but they've had a hot past couple of weeks. Despite a loss to, I think, a better Arizona team, they didn't come out and play really good football. Daniel Jones is still hurt with a hamstring injury. From watching the game, I really don't think that he's 100% healthy, or he definitely wasn't in that game. So next, we're going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this team is bad. This team is very, very bad. It's bad when you have Mike Glennon starting the quarterback over Gardner Minshew. That tells you how bad this football team is offensively. Defensively, they haven't really been able to piece away a 100% solid game. This team is at an F. Next, the Jets, the bottom of the league. The laughing stock of the NFL. They got blown out by the Seattle Seahawks, which anything that was expected. This team is absolutely horrific. Horrific, to say the least. Next, we're going to have the Detroit Lions. I'm going to have them in a D. I cannot put them at an F. I still really believe in Stafford. They were playing against the Green Bay team who I think was outmatched them, especially in the secondary with all the injuries that they have. The True Font being in and out of the lineup. Okuda being down for the year. Offensively, I still believe that this Lions team can have some success offensively. I believe in Matthew Stafford. I've always said he's the most underrated quarterback in football. He just stuck on a really bad football team. Point blank, period. Next, we're going to have the Green Bay Packers. I'm putting them at an A as much as it pays me to do as a Bear fan. Aaron Rodgers is playing at an MVP level. Devontae Adams has emerged himself as one of the best wide receivers in the football. Aaron Jones is one of the better backs. Defense is starting to come around, led by some Darius Smith, Preston Smith. Kenny Clark has been playing a little bit better up the middle. Jair Alexander has had some struggles, but he's been coming back to form. So I'm going to have the Packers in the A as much as it hates to be a compliment. Next, we're going to have the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to put the Panthers at a D as well. I've always been a big fan of this team as far as what their future looks out to be. and where they can grow going forward. They just haven't been able to put together many wins. They've really struggled down the stretch of games at most points of this season. But I'm a really big believer in Matt Rule and the culture that he is bringing to this Carolina Panther football team. Next, we're going to have the New England Patriots. That game against the Rams was that was bad. I'm going to put them at a D. That was a bad performance on all phases of the game. Not just Cam Newton. I know he had the abdominal injury, and I know he had a lot of stuff going on. The defense has not looked great. I think this year with the Patriots, a lot of their defensive pieces really opted out of the season. Especially guys like Patrick Chung and Dante Hightower were two main pieces of their defense. So, as much as this Patriots team, you're so used to seeing them winning, it was really hard to see this team struggle the way that they have. But they don't have a lot of weapons around Newton. So, a lot of the fault of the offense is not Newton's fault. They just don't have a lot of pieces around him. And Edelman is playing basically on one knee and a banged-up body. Next, we're going to have the Raiders. I'm going to drop them to a C. That was a really, really bad performance defensively against the Colts. Offensively, they had some turnovers. And this team is very, very confusing. Because one week they look like, okay, they're really good. They can be a really, really scary team. And then another week they get blown out. So this Raiders team has been really hard to judge. Like when they're low, they're low. And when they're high, they're high. There's no middle ground with this Raiders team, in my opinion. Next, we have the LA Rams coming off a really good win over the Patriots on Thursday night. I'm going to put them at a B. I don't think they're at the A level at this point. Even though their defense has been playing absolutely well and their offense has been playing well as well, I still don't have them at the A, at least as right now. They still have to be a little bit more consistent to me offensively when it comes to running the football. They have to run it a little bit more, in my opinion. But either way, I'm still liking how this Rams football team is really playing this season. They're playing better than what I expected, to be 100% honest. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens. I cannot put them in the A. I'm going to put them in a B. They got a much needed victory in that crazy Monday night game with Lamar Jackson. I don't know if he had cramps or he was taking a dump. He said he wasn't taking a dump, so I take him at his word. But that was just almost Paul Pierce NBA Finals like in 2008. The defense, I've still not been a big fan of Marcus Peters. I've never been a big Marcus Peters guy. I think he plays a little bit too much with his eyes in the backfield. He's not really a lockdown corner. I've always said he's kind of overrated to me, in my opinion. The running game is there. What trepidizes me about this Ravens team, and it still does, is their ability to attack down the field on a consistent basis. The problem, but the whole thing with that Cleveland game is Cleveland was pretty much in man coverage for most of the game, which I think was kind of a bad move, especially taking your eyes off of Lamar Jackson. But either way, I'll put the Ravens at a B. Next, the Saints. I still have them at an A despite the loss to Philly. I'm still a big believer in this football team. Defensively, I still believe that this is one of the better defenses in the NFL. Offensively, they've had some struggles. Taysom Hill has some misses with his throws, but he hasn't really played much of the quarterback position. And also, with this Saints team, I think having Taysom Hill at quarterback versus Jameis Winston, it really takes away that Taysom Hill element as far as moving him all over the place and with wide receiver in places like Sean Payton likes to do. Hopefully, Drew Brees is back this week with a big showdown against KC, but I still have them as one of the top teams. Next, we're going to have the Seattle Seahawks coming off a blowout of the Jets. I mean, what do you expect? They blew out the Jets. But I still have them. No, I got to drop them to a B. I have to drop them to a B, mainly because the offensive line just refuses to protect Russell Wilson. And defensively, I mean, it was the Jets, so I'm not going to put too much into that game. But I still think defensively they can use some really, really consistent pass rush. Offensively, they have to protect Russell Wilson. Until this team really protects Russell Wilson for a good part of the game, I got to put him in a B. Next, Pittsburgh, despite the 2 losses, I still have them in an A. This team, has it been figured out? Has the Steelers been figured out? Because a lot of their offense is predicated with the short passing game. They weren't able to run the football, but only so well against Buffalo, who I think Buffalo is one of the better defenses in the NFL. Pittsburgh still has a really good defense. It was just the fact of this offense wasn't able to consistently move the football, and I think that's what got them in trouble against Buffalo. They turned the ball over, and they weren't consistently moving the football against a really good Buffalo defense. But have they been figured out? Who knows? Next, the Houston Texans, coming off a defeat of my Chicago Bears. Deshaun Watson, this team is on his back like crazy. I know his back hurts from carrying this football team. J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson, I know their backs are killing them from carrying this football team to where they are. Zach Cunningham, the linebacker, is having a pretty solid season as well, but this team did not look very good. They did not look up to a task against the Bears team, who was coming off of 6 straight losses. So I have to put the Texans at an F. I have to. Next, we're going to have the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to put the Tennessee Titans at a B. I love how physical they play. Running the football, very, very physical with Derrick Henry. I love how Ryan Tannehill has kind of resurrected his career. The defense is playing absolutely well. I know it was all against Jacksonville, but the defense, I still believe in them. And offensively, the only thing that trepidizes me about them is, can they beat you with Tannehill if the running game is not always there? They are a physical football team that I think they play better with the lead than playing from behind. This team is built to play with the lead. They have to get a lead first. Next, and last but not least, we're going to have the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to put them at a D. And if it wasn't for the kicker missing so many field goals, they probably would have been more in this contest against Tampa Bay. I'm still a fan of what Dalvin Cook has been able to do this year. Defensively, they've played better over the past couple of weeks, and they've lost a lot of pieces. But despite that, they're playing a lot better these past couple of weeks. We're led by Harrison Smith, who I think is one of the better safeties in the league. But I'm going to have the Vikings team in a D. But these are my rankings for the week. If you guys agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave this video a like so it can help beat the YouTube algorithm. And click that subscribe button. And also click that notification bell so you will not miss a video. But that's all I've got for you guys today. APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.